There are several organizations emphasizing several methods of attack and at times competing for leadership of the revolution. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, born when this century was 10 years old, took what it called a renewed struggle for civil and political liberty into the courts. The Southern Christian Leadership Conference, born of a bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama, nearly half a century later, took its call for all, here and now, into the streets. The Congress of Racial Equality and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee originated and pressed the freedom rides and sit-ins. But as the movement has mushroomed, its methods have merged and led to large-scale demonstrations that include children against a spectrum of targets. The tactic is called a massive campaign of direct action. Sometimes the campaign strains its limiting policy of nonviolence, and sometimes it exacts of its leader the highest price, death. It happened in Jackson, Mississippi.
Shortly after midnight on June 12th, Medgar Evers stepped from his car in this driveway. He was silhouetted against the carport lights behind me. A shot from a high-powered rifle shattered the nighttime stillness. Evers fell, fatally wounded. He was 37. He had been field secretary of the NAACP in Mississippi for 9 difficult years.
Don't shop for anything on Capitol Street. Let's let the merchants down on Capitol Street feel the economic pinch. Let me say this to you. I had one merchant to call me, and he said, I want you to know that I've talked to my national office today, and they want me to tell you that we don't need nigger business. These are stores that help to support the White Citizens Council, the council that is dedicated to keeping you and I second-class citizens. So let us not trade at these stores. Let's urge our friends, our relatives, our neighbors, not to trade at these stores. Now, finally, ladies and gentlemen, and this is final, we'll be demonstrating here until freedom comes to Negroes here in Jackson, Mississippi.
In late May, Evers had opened a full-scale direct action campaign against the almost total segregation of this city. This was a switch from the previous emphasis on court action. The movement lacked mass support from the city's 50,000 Negroes. Sit-in demonstrators at a lunch counter were doused with mustard and ketchup the first day. A white demonstrator and 2 Negroes were beaten. Jackson police used this violence as justification for instant arrest during later demonstrations. Policemen occasionally clubbed demonstrators and used a variety of other tactics designed to break their spirit. Negro prison trustees were often used to carry demonstrators into paddy wagons, as when the white chaplain from predominantly Negro Tougaloo College was arrested while leading a prayer meeting on the steps of the post office. Teenagers arrested during one protest march were loaded into new garbage trucks and taken to a makeshift compound set up at the state fairgrounds. The city had converted fair buildings into temporary prisons before, during the Freedom Ride, as a measure of confidence in its ability to contain demonstrations. The executive secretary of the NAACP, Roy Wilkins, came to Jackson and joined Evers on a picket line one Saturday afternoon. They were promptly arrested. A state court injunction against demonstrations stalled but did not stop the desegregation campaign. Then, Evers was murdered. The fatal bullet was fired from a vacant lot across the street from Evers' home, crashing through his body and through the window of his home.